Guys, what is intimacy? Is kissing part of intimacy? What of foreplay? Would you consider foreplay part of intimacy? What would you say about holding hands? Is that also part of intimacy? Let me even ask you another question. Knowing your husband's or your wife's business, is it part of intimacy? Is prayer, yes, you heard me, is prayer part of intimacy? Or would you say that intimacy is just sex? What's your thoughts? Today we are talking about intimacy in relationships. And of course, it has a lot to do with relationship. Yes, I'm a life coach, but I like to actually bring people here now. So we'll spice up this thing. I know this lady is somebody I love so much. I'm sorry, you will see a lot of her. In short, it's me and her that own this YouTube. Anyway, welcome, Cecilia.
Thank you so much for having me again and again.
I really love doing this with you. Really.
Me too.
I said LA was my YouTube sweetheart, but I think you're competing now.
Hey! I'm not going to say anything more than that.
LA, you heard that, yeah? Anyway, so let's talk about intimacy. People don't know what intimacy is. So intimacy is just the one-on-one connection you will build with somebody on different levels. So there are different levels to intimacy. So we'll have the spiritual intimacy, we'll have the intellectual intimacy, we'll have the sexual, or you could call it physical intimacy, we'll have the recreational intimacy, and of course we'll have the emotional intimacy.
Yes.
I'd already discussed this topic before, I will link it here, rises by spirit. But I didn't talk about it from the aspect of relationship. And now today we are going to dig into how these 5 types of intimacy could help us positively in our marriages.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
So maybe I'll go first.
Okay.
Which one do I choose now? Okay, let me go with emotional intimacy.
Okay.
What is emotional intimacy?
Okay.
People will always say, emotional. Does it mean somebody that is crying? When my husband is crying, I'll be by his side and say, sorry, Bele. That is not really what we mean when we talk about emotional intimacy. When we talk about emotional intimacy, we mean when you're able to connect with your husband or your partner in the level of course, that's emotional aspect, but also communication, respect, empathy, when he understands what you don't like. When you understand his boundaries.
Yes.
I have this girlfriend of mine that people usually say, oh, Uju, you're scared of Uju. Her name is also Uju.
Okay.
We did a video together. I'm going to link it up somewhere. So anytime I'm actually respecting her boundaries, people say, you're scared of Uju. I have that strong emotional connection with her. Yes, she's a girlfriend. So you don't have to connect only with your husband in this intimate level.
Yes.
Of course, sexually only. But you know what I mean?
Yes.
She's a girlfriend of mine, but we have a very strong emotional connection. I understand and respect her space. So hardly do we fight because I am sensitive enough to understanding she likes things this way. And I respect her to that level.
Right.
So imagine when you have that level of understanding. Your husband knows, if I look like this, Cecilia won't like it.
Yes.
If I look like that, she won't like it.
Yes.
If he respects you, he won't do it. And you know what they say, a home there is peace in thrives.
Absolutely.
So you see yourself, 1 year you guys have not fought. And you're wondering, and people are complaining. No, because you guys have that strong, intimate, emotional, intimate connection.
Yeah.
So much so that you guys understand each other on that level. Hence, the peace you enjoy in your marriage.
Absolutely. And that's very profound, because when people say intimacy, the first thing that comes to mind is sex. So it's great that you started with defining it and outlining the different levels of intimacy. And I'm also excited that you're talking about it from a relationship point of view. And I hope that people are learning.
Yeah. So, okay, I think maybe we'll talk about the second one, the mental or intellectual. Do you want to take
that? Yes. Okay, thank you for giving me that. You see the mental part, the intellectual part or level of intimacy is what puts a lot of women in problem when they're not having it at home with their husband. They tend to either share it with another girlfriend who may or may not be happy with the happiness she has in her home, and that can become a problem. So you're sharing something you're supposed to be sharing with your husband with an external person, or when they start sharing it with a male friend. That is where a lot of infidelity on the part of a woman comes into play, because when she starts talking to the man, sharing, and she's not talking about her family matters, she's talking about work, her ideas, her dreams, the things she's seeing, and that person can connect to the things she's saying. she finds it easy, and it increasingly becomes easier for her to have those sort of conversation with,
and guess what?
With the man.
It gets worse if she's a psychosexual. So if somebody that is stimulated intellectually, and you, the husband, you're there, you're not contributing to that level.
The funny thing is, a lot of women are there.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of women are there. So women are constantly upgrading themselves, updating, self-developing, because we're in the information age, and a lot of men are fighting and struggling to get there. So sometimes when a woman brings an idea to her husband that he's not intellectually capable of handling, rather than say, okay, let's talk about it, I'm not really sure how this works, so maybe teach me, educate me, he shies away from it, or just blocks it. And this woman wants to have a conversation with you intellectually, right? And when that's not happening, both of you are actually opening the door to the enemy. So Absolutely. This woman finds somebody else who she can have this conversation. Before you know it, from intellectual, emotion gets in. From there, the physical connection also happens. And it's vice versa. There are men who are intellectually stimulated, and the women are just not coming up to par.
Absolutely.
So it's important that both, while we're talking about relationship and marriage, money, sex, and all of that, understand that sometimes this person wants to have an intellectual conversation with you, and if you can't, the best thing to do is to listen.
Absolutely.
As against blocking the person.
When you show the person that you're willing to learn, it's also stimulating.
Absolutely.
So the person is excited to teach you.
Absolutely.
And if you're naturally smart, immediately they teach you. You pick one or two things, and then you add to the contribution.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to expose your marriage in such a way that some other girl or some other guy then becomes your wife's best friend.
Yes.
Or your husband's,
best friend.
You don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, let's take number 3. We'll talk about spiritual intimacy.
Ooh.
Now, people don't understand this. It confuses people. When you say spiritual, they think it's religion. No, there's a huge difference between religion and spiritual.
Yeah.
Religion is all about God, going to church, praying,
doing things in front of people.
Exactly.
When it's time to pray, the one that can
kabash. That's not what we are talking about. That is not to say that's not important in marriage. Of course, God is the foundation of every home, or should be the foundation of every home. But what we are talking about here is spiritual intimacy. When you connect with your husband on the level of morals, values. Right. When both of you have that kind of understanding that, okay, we want to bring up our children this way. We believe there's something called karma, for instance. That way, we are not supposed to thread in this kind of business or do this kind of thing, because even if we don't have the ripple effect, it could affect our generation.
Absolutely.
Hence, we are working in this kind of light.
Yeah.
Because I see people in homes where they will be having fun, they will have children, they are okay. Immediately the children grow up to secondary school or university, you will see the pressure will be on the couple, because the woman is open to the child being a musician, for example, being a model.
Yeah.
It's okay for her.
Yeah.
But the husband is like, no way, that is useless. My son has to be a doctor. He has to. It becomes a problem because he doesn't see it that way. Do you understand? Yeah. But when you're able to connect with your partner on that level of spiritual intimacy, you guys see eye to eye. And guess what? Initially, you guys might not be on the same page. That's okay.
That's okay.
The most important thing is to be open. Learn from her and allow her teach you as well. Learn from him, allow him to, so that with time, because you people change. That your husband and wife doesn't mean you don't grow in marriage. You grow and unlearn and relearn in marriage.
And keep learning.
Absolutely.
So I think that spiritual part is very, very important. And as a Christian, I would also still take it back to like the prayer part, because a lot of couples don't pray together. Why are you in a marriage where the both of you can pray together? Even if you're living apart, you can wake up in the morning, pray over the phone together. Sometimes, there were times when my husband and I will have issues, and in the place of prayer, I just find a peace, and I get out there and I just give him a hug. God has helped me, or God has ministered to me in the place of prayer to be calm. So we're spiritually connected. And when we have conversations later, we'll find out that he had prayed that God will let his wife see it. And so you can see where that comes into play. And when we talk about morals as well, my husband and I are on the same page when it comes to how to raise our children, the kinds of things to do. We have a no yelling policy in my house. We have, even though we still yellow, but it helps us because we're able to identify it. Do you understand? We homeschool our kids because we raise them to be vocal. We raise them to know what is wrong and what is right. And so when they go to school, most children are bullied by other children. My children are bullied by teachers, not by other children. Because when a teacher, for instance, calls a child a brat, and the child says, I'm sorry, sir, my name is this, not a brat. The teacher picks offense and starts to bully the child unconsciously or consciously, right? And so we have that kind of issue. But if we're not on the same page, we'll be like, it's not a big deal now. When we were growing up, they used to beat us safe. So because they say, but we're on the same page because we want to raise children that are well balanced, that know God, that love people, and are able to stand up for what is right and what is wrong.
And for themselves.
And for themselves. My oldest daughter in school was like an advocate for other children. So when senior students come to primary section, you see her stand. She used to write statements.
Good.
She used to write statements. So she was standing up for other children. So that's a spiritual value that we had, and we're transferring to the children. So again, as couples, a married couple, we must be very, very intentional about connecting spiritually. So I really agree with you on that.
Yeah. And then the fourth one, I think maybe you handle this: physical or sexual intimacy. This is your department. I dare not compete.
This is my department, people. In case you don't know, this is bedroom matters.
Oh yeah. All things sexual,
all things
marriage,
sexual.
and
intimacy.
Okay.
That's me.
There you go.
Okay, so what is physical or sexual intimacy? It's the touching, it's the feeling, it's the kissing, all of that. Foreplay. Are you feeling me? Are you getting there? Statistics says that the top 2 reasons for separation or divorce in marriages is number 1, money, number 2, sex.
You heard that.
And I actually think it is sex before money, because let's look at this. If 2 people in a marriage are having financial problems, they can talk to people. True of us.
True.
You can talk to your parents. If you're maybe from a rich home, you can talk to your parents.
Or
Even if
siblings.
you're not, your siblings. You can talk to a money coach, business coach. You can talk to virtually anyone. But when you have sexual problems in your home, who do you run to? You're thinking, how will I even start this conversation? It's heavy in the mouth, So with money, yes, I get, because, everything in life is money. With money, you can find help easily. With sexual intimacy, it's very tricky, because maybe the person you're even talking to doesn't even know
how to help you,
right? So sex is such a huge part of any married person's life, and it's a major problem. So when they're not connecting physically, there is a problem.
I share your opinion, because check couples abroad. We have high rate of divorces abroad as well. And we know that in the abroad, the problem is not so much about money.
Yes.
Because, almost everybody there is comfortable, right?
And they can plan.
But you still see high rate of divorces there. So really, I support you on that. I think sexual intimacy comes, or the rate of divorce in homes, sexual problems come first before money problems.
Yeah, I think so.
Because come on, those living abroad. When I was in Germany, a lot of Nigerians that I met as a couple were divorced as at the time I was living, and I stayed only 5 years. So you can imagine. Anyway, so the 4th one, or the 5th one I think on our list, is recreational or experimental intimacy. Now this one is you finding, will I say, melting point with your husband or your wife, depending.
Right.
In a fun melting point, let's put it that way. For example, if you people enjoy the same level of activities for holiday, or you people believe in holiday, you people like traveling, or you people believe, like for example, I believe in fine wining and dining.
Okay.
My husband believes in bar kind of outing.
Okay.
You see, so on that level, we don't really share the same kind of fun.
But then you can,
of course, we'll compromise.
Compromise.
So this week we're going for fine dining and wining, dressing up. Next week we're going to the bar, But the point is, you as a couple finding something outside every other thing that you guys enjoy. Because really you still need to relax. You still need to have fun. It's not just all about paying bills, having sex, connecting spiritually, training the children, connecting emotionally, talking business. Sometimes you just need to...
People don't date.
Yes, people...
They don't date.
So you find a melting point of dating. Maybe your husband believes that vacation for him is just going to shop, and you believe in seeing places,
sightseeing.
Then tweak it. Maybe
so you do some of this, you do some of this. For those that can't travel out for whatever reason, finance reason, even when you're home, the man likes to watch football. The man likes to watch Telemundo or Africa Magic. Can we find a melting point?
Absolutely.
Can we compromise? Today I watch football with you. Even though I don't know what they are doing on that field, and somebody's wearing red, but you don't know that red is Gunners, you are there, be like, hey! hey, Chelsea! And the man looks at you like, he's gonna be like, it is, you're building, you're having fun. And then the man is watching Telemundo and he's seeing all these long things. He's like, what are these people? Is that Jim Ike? He'd be like, how is this Jim Ike? Do you even know who Jim Ike is? So I totally share the whole, relax, the recreational thing, have fun. Yeah. I love to go out when I really want to. My husband loves to stay indoors. And so he loves to stay indoors, and then once in a while we say like, let's go clubbing, even though it's not his thing, but we've now found a way to make clubbing fun. So my husband likes to just sit and see that his wife is fine. His wife can dance. His wife is turning heads. So as we're entering the club like this, I'm going like this, going like this. Then he will now find me. There's no way we go to club that we don't find people that we know, or we go together with some people and we're sitting and I'm dancing. He's somewhere looking at so how those guys are looking at my wife. Maybe somebody will send somebody to go and say hello. Then my husband will now come and now hold me and I will now rock the heck out of him. He has fun that way. So I know that's what gives him fun, And so it's important that
you meet each other halfway.
Meet each other halfway. As much as being a parent is key and all of that, find time
for yourselves,
for the both of you.
For yourself.
If it's to sit in the house and watch Netflix and chill.
Yes.
Send the children to bed early.
Yeah.
Stretch out your feet
and relax.
Let your head down, girls.
Yeah.
Guys, let your muscle down.
Yeah, small.
Yeah.
Like what you said about you and your husband. My own is that I like to stay indoors. He likes to go out.
Oh.
So most times you say, babe, let's go out. I'm like, oh. But you have to be intentional in this marriage. Absolutely. I don't want to today. You don't want to tomorrow. He
will leave you now. Someday he will go and something will fly past. I know the funny thing, sometimes you start going out and you start enjoying it.
That's what I'm saying. The last time we went out, I'm like, he was even saying, let's go. I said, no, I'm having fun. So you see, just be open-minded. Another way, again, when you were talking, something came to mind about movies and all that. So my husband loves to watch action movies. I love drama,
romance, love. My husband is Chinese and Korean.
If you put
Jumang, I'm like, guy, like, how is this fun to you? I can't even understand what they're speaking. Me, I like my love, so I get it.
My own husband will sleep. If you put the romance, he would agree. Should we say intentional marriage? He will follow you with intentional marriage. But
he will sleep in between.
I would enjoy the whole thing because there's no intimacy there. Because remember, sitting together and watching movies is part of the intimacy and the connection.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I will allow myself to watch the action movie. And guess what? Since for the past 1 week or two, I've been watching action movies. For some reason now,
and I watch a whole Korean series alone. And my mother said, I can't believe it. Like for real. Recently, I just watched Remarriage and Desire. And it was nice. And it was Korean. I'm like, I was just reading the subtitles
to make you concentrate. Because you're reading everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, this was really very fun. I didn't even want it to end. You see, so there are different levels of intimacy. So, of course, kissing is part of intimacy.
Oh yes.
For those that ask.
Oh yes.
Foreplay is part of intimacy.
Absolutely.
Discussing business with your partner is part of intimacy.
Yep.
Playing together is part of intimacy.
Yes.
Cuddling is part of intimacy. Gisting is part of intimacy. Guess what? Playing, having fun, traveling is part of intimacy.
Absolutely.
Watching movies is part of intimacy. Going out in the bar, fine dining, unwinding, all of them.
Whatever.
And of course, sexual aspect is also part of intimacy. So try to, and again, another important thing I want to say here is don't be too hard on yourself when you think you only have one or two connection among these 5 with your spouse.
True.
That's another thing.
True.
Like, they are not all equal in my marriage.
They're
but
not.
I'm happy. So it doesn't have to be equal. And it doesn't have to be that you guys have all five. There's possibility you've connected or you're connecting with your husband currently on the spiritual, on the sexual, and on the emotional now. And maybe the recreational
is lacking for whatever reason.
And then tomorrow you see that one will come up more than the other one. Yeah. It all depends on where you are in your marriage.
Phases in
exactly.
life.
Maybe when you're busy having children, you guys are not doing a lot of things together that much. So you guys can bond off of the other ones and hold on to the other ones.
Sometimes it's the sexual part, the physical part you're not bonding on more, and the both of you are okay because you can do the recreational, you can sit down, watch movie. Absolutely. Because you understand your time and seasons.
Absolutely. Yeah. You need to, that's very important. I think we're going to close on this. You need to understand your time and your seasons in your marriages and be okay with the ones you have. Hold on to those ones you have. Yeah. Polish the ones you don't have, of course, but hold on to the ones you have. polish it well, explore, enjoy it, knowing that with time you guys will grow together, unlearn and relearn, and be happier. So comment and tell me the kind of intimacy you share with your husband, the ones that is lacking, and maybe together we could give each other advices that would help us in our marriages. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and comment. And always hang in there, for the very best is next. Love you. Ciao, ciao.